Well, hello there. This is Virtual Chess Noob learning and having fun with chess. Welcome to another episode of Quick Wins. And today we're going to go back and look at the 8-move checkmate into Caro-Kann von Hennig Gambit. Originally made a video on this almost 2 years ago. Since then, I've gotten a few more time to learn quite a bit more about the line, especially some of the thinking about the psychology of why it works. And I'm recently inspired because I actually got this win just early in the week. Wanted to make another video on it and also talk about some of the thinking and the particular psychological tactics around the queen sacrifice trap, of which this is an example, but not the only one. I have the white pieces, black plays, Caro-Kann defense, e4, c6, Caro-Kann. Of course, we take the full center, they play d5, we play the knight entering the main line, captures, but rather than capturing back, we play von Hennig Gambit, bishop to c4, tricky move, very tricky move. And the interesting thing about this trap is that every subsequent move here now for black is practically their top response, their most common response, especially at the beginner intermediate level. Now at the higher end, people with the black pieces will know about the trap and obviously they're not going to fall into it, but every move here is natural, it's intuitive, and this is what makes this trap so deadly. In this position, black, they're going to want to defend against that one pawn. Very natural. Knight to f6, natural development move for the king's knight. Also defends the e4 pawn. But now we play f3, putting a second attacker. Black is almost certainly going to calculate a number of options. Capturing down seems to make sense. But if they don't want to take, can they push? Not really. That just straight up loses that pawn. Potentially, they can defend it with the bishop to f5, and that's the video I showed very recently. And the problem is that that's not a good move either, because we can immediately hit with g4, and effectively they can't actually hold on to that pawn. So they're going to calculate holding on to that pawn is quite difficult. And if they capture yet again, at least they consolidate their one piece of material advantage. That actually is their best move. However, here, consider what we've done. We have basically made black move that one pawn once, twice, 3 times in the opening, and at the end of it, that pawn isn't even exerting any pressure because it's evaporated from the board. We've got 3 minor pieces developed, ready to short castle in one turn. Black has only 1 minor piece developed, and the reality is they have to spend at least 2-3 turns before they can short castle. So developmentally, black's going to feel they have a bit of a problem. And the psychology here is that they're going to want to develop a minor piece. But it can't be this bishop, the king's bishop, because it's blocked in. Everything is blocked in. This knight, the queen's knight, stuck. That's their natural square, but the Caro-Kann pawn on c6 is there. They could develop there, but it looks really cramped. So the obvious, piece to develop is the bishop. And if we look at the candidate moves, it's gonna be probably this square or this square, isn't it? So this is in fact black's best move. However, if they're calculating and looking at these 2 candidate moves, a bishop to a g5 looks really good as well. They develop a piece, aggressive position, pins one of white's pieces to, so the knight, to the queen, and so it's almost like they win a bit of tempo back. And in fact, that's the most common move black will play. Bishop to g4, and that is a blunder. And it's a blunder because this pin is not really a pin. Knight can go to e5, seemingly with an attack there. But did white make a blunder? Did they make a mistake hanging the queen? If they're greedy and they take the queen, then this is a beautiful checkmate. That is the 8-move checkmate line in the Caro-Kann. The interesting thing here is I had a look at the Lichess community database, looking at every decision, so every move that black needs to choose, needs to make for us to get this mate, starting from the Von Hennig Gambit in this position. So the first move is from move 4, so the knight, and then the capture, and then the bishop, and then the capture. So those moves. If we look at the likelihood, the probability, and we sort of multiply it all together, effectively, if we look at all games on the Lead Chess Community database, White gets this particular line, this checkmate from the Von Hennig Gambit position about 4% of the time, 1 in 25 times. But if we limit that to lower rated players, blitz and rapid, it goes all the way to about 8% of the time. So 1 in 12 Von Hennig Gambit games, you're gonna get this mate. It's really, really cool. The critical move though, the critical move is when Black has made this move. We need to play this for the mate to work, and then they have to take the queen. Now, potentially, they might smell a rat. They might think, oh, wait a minute, why did they do this? And then they look a little bit more carefully, then they'll potentially see the checkmate, and then they may play the best move, which is bishop back to e6. Now, in this position, White is still completely winning. So this is why this gambit is really good, and this line is really good, because they already made the mistake. The mistake was this move. However, how can we entice Black to not smell a rat and to fall for the trap? This is what I did in this game, and this is what I've sort of come up with sort of over time. So as soon as a game, so I usually play rapid. So this was a 15-minute game, 10-second increment. So once I get this move, like I usually start the opening with reasonably quick moves, but not excessively quick. You know, you're using the mouse on the screen. So usually you would make a move every 1 to 3 seconds, because, you know, you have to respond, you have to move, you don't want to, mouse slip. But once I get to this position, I'm sensitized to the possibility of getting that particular line of checkmate, that quick win. And remember, it's about 1 in 12 games. It's about 8% of the time. So from here, I try to move really fast. So here, I try to play quickly. And in fact, in this game, so on this move, so to capture back, to really snap, I play that move really prepared, really focused on making the move, 0.8 seconds. Now, for the opponent with the black pieces, often what you're seeing is, are they familiar with the line? And if they're taking time to think through the moves, it means they're not familiar with the line. And so there is now a contrast. So what they're seeing is me playing very, very quick moves, as if I'm not thinking about the position, just snapping through the positions, just blitzing out moves, while they're carefully considering their moves. So they're already developing a potential thought that maybe I'm playing like blitz, carelessly, just on instinct. And so when they play this move, they're already thinking that I'm playing in an instinctive way, not really calculating. For them to play this move in the first place, it means they don't really understand this position. Otherwise, they would have never played it. It is a blunder. And they're thinking, okay, I've got an attack on the queen and I've pinned the knight. And so what you need to do is to not slowly think about the position and then move that knight, because they're going to go, why did they spend so much time thinking to hang their queen? That doesn't make any sense. So what you need to do is be prepared. As soon as you see that they have indeed made this move, you need to snap that move out. And in fact, in this game, I got that move in 0.5 seconds. And imagine they've just made that move. They're thinking, they're still in their front of mind, queen, potentially it takes the queen, and then suddenly the knight is out of the picture. It's hanging. They already have developed a bit of a thought because of the way I played before, that I'm playing carelessly and instinctively. And so within that conceptualization, they're going to think, well, a trap hasn't been set. They just made a blunder. They just made a mistake, capture, and so take, and this is how you get the win. If you play that move slow, they'll probably smell a rat. They think, oh, why did they just do that? And they'll really analyze the position. Now, this is something you might have to do on online chess because obviously you don't have the visual cues, you don't see the other person. But I want to show you another queen sacrifice trap. And this is really by one of the OG chess masters in international chess. So I'm going to show you a game between Légal and Saint-Brieuc. This is a game in 1750. And if you know Légal, there's a trap named after him, the Légal trap. Légal has only one extant recorded game where he uses the trap, and it is this game. And it's really cool because he was the chess master at the Regency Cafe in Paris, so probably the strongest chess player in the world at the time. This is, don't really know who Saint-Brieuc is, and so he actually played this game with rook odds, which is why there's no queen's rook. And as usual, with rook odds, Légal played with the white pieces. And this is how it goes. So, e4, e5. Légal plays the bishop's opening. And very interestingly, Saint-Brieuc plays this defense. So, like a Philidor's defense, and it's potentially historically provocative because in 1750, Philidor, who was Légal's chess student, he was his student, had only just very recently published his treatise, his book on chess, where he recommends this setup of pawns, and now the Philidor's defense. And so for Saint-Brieuc to use Légal's student's opening against him, provocative move. Now here it seems to go very normally. Knight, 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 and now Saint-Brieuc attempts to pin the knight to the queen. And this is actually a perfectly good move. And to show that this is, the psychological tactics around this this unpinning queen sacrifice tactic, the story goes, and it could be apocryphal, but it's just so good, it just feels like it has to be true, is that Légal was thinking through the position, and he acts as if he accidentally touched the knight and then pulled his hand back. Saint-Brieuc noticed that and pointed out the touch move rule. So if you touch a piece in over the board chess, you have to move that piece if it is legal to do so. And so Légal accepts the rule, acts, just trolling Saint-Brieuc, acts as if if he has to move it, then the least worst move, regretfully move the knight to capture that pawn. And Saint-Brieuc is probably over the moon, at this point, thinking that he's just won a massive concession against the world's best chess player, or definitely the best chess player in France. And so immediately captures the queen. And here we now see the brilliant Légal trap. Bishop captures, check, king forced to bomb cloud, and now the second knight jumps forward. It's checkmate. Every square around the king is covered. Absolutely beautiful checkmate. This is the Légal trap. And Légal played an unsound sequence, using that psychological trap, that trick, even winning with the rook odds. Absolutely brilliant. I hope you enjoyed this this thinking about how to potentially make use of the queen's sacrifice trap, and noting that chess is not just about calculation. The mind game, the psychological flow is really important. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good day.